Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night comes from ESPN Stats and Info. With Jon Rahm's win at the Genesis Invitational, he joins Tiger Woods, who did it 5 times, and Justin Thomas, who did it twice, as the only players over the last 40 years to win at least 3 times within the first 6 starts of a PGA season. He's been that good, and that guy is now the #1 player in the world again after that victory out there in LA today. In the meantime, for those of you who watched XFL, I don't know how many actually did, but if you're looking for football, that was available to you the first weekend of the Rocks XFL League. And there were some interesting things. One of them I want to bring up because I think it's interesting that it happened and it actually worked. The NFL has been kicking around this rule at the end of a game, instead of an onside kick, which are highly unsuccessful, you have the option. You can kick it if you want to get back into a game, or you can go 1st and 15 from your own 25-yard line. And if you convert, then you keep possession. Well, that happened in the XFL today, and the team ended up going all the way down the field and scoring a game-winning touchdown. So they scored 15 points in the last minute 3 of the game. It's an interesting element, and it does keep bigger name players on the field instead of the all-hands team that you see with onside kicks. So I think that's interesting. The other thing the NFL Competition Committee will get into as they meet at the end of March is going to be what to do with that push rule, the push the tush rule. You know, you saw it with Jalen Hurts all season long. Philadelphia was highly successful. You know, quarterback sneak, and then he gets pushed from behind by either an offensive lineman or some skilled player, and all of a sudden it's an automatic first down. A lot of people would like to see that rule go away, that you cannot allow a quarterback to do that, get pushed. Instead, he has to earn it on his own. One of the things we'll certainly be watching. All right, let's go to the phone lines. We'll begin with Frank in Moon Township. Hey, Frank, what's going on?
Bob, how are you? I like the suit, man. Vets are back. I
appreciate
like it. Hey, Bob, everybody keeps talking about the Penguins. I mean, every news channel, everybody. But basically, first, I read an article. He said their third line's rated the worst third line in hockey this year. And that's like, what are they going to do? I mean, what can they do unless they get healthy? I mean, there's nothing. There's no money to spend. We know that. There's no one. The only thing they do is to start playing better, and they have to get Jarry back, and that's the
well. That's the key, Frank. I would say that's the key. First and foremost, the only thing that can change drastically is how you play and goal. Although I'm going to tell you this too. You know, a lot of blame goes to goaltenders. DeSmith's been up and down, certainly, but man, they can make life a lot easier on goaltenders by playing much tighter in front of them. And what we have seen recently especially is too many odd man breaks, too many easy access to the goal, too many uncovered players in front of the net. I go back to that San Jose game that was here, and it was awful what they put on tape that day. When they played in San Jose and DeSmith stood on his head, he still had to face 38 shots. You cannot keep allowing that, and many of them were high-quality shots. Tristan Jarry is an upgrade. He needs to be there. He's only played in 16 of 18 games, the last 18. That's, you know, I don't know what he had. He was announced back on January 22nd as the starter after morning skate. And then somewhere before face-off, he's out. And we haven't seen him since. I'm not sure. Josh Yohe, who I have a lot of respect for, of course, in his coverage of the Penguins, says it could be a chronic hip injury. And if that is, that's not good. The other thing about money is the Penguins got to figure out what to do with him at the end of the season. He is a free agent. What do? They don't have many options in their system. So there are a lot of questions that Ron Hextall has to face moving forward. All right, let's go out to Shane in Clearfield. Hey, Shane, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Bob?
How are you?
Pretty good. I just had a question about, do you think Andrew McCutchen will have another MVP year?
No. I do think he'll be of help, and I think if you look at his numbers, Shane, I mean, he would have led the Pirates in RBIs with his total that he had last year if he were playing here. So that tells you 2 things. Number one, he's still not done, but number 2, the Pirates need more offensive help for sure. And, you know, he can provide that. I think Carlos Santana is one of those guys who can bring that. G-Man Choi, but these are all guys on 1-year deals, and you don't even know if they're going to be around. I would hate to think they're going to block people who deserve to play. I'm more interested, and I asked the question at the beginning of this program, what is your expectation as far as how will you define success of the Pirates in 2023? It's hard to put numbers on it. You could bet in Vegas if you want, 71 wins, who cares? They'll still lose 90 plus. What I want to see is a nucleus develop quickly. I want to see not just guys like Reynolds, who I think they should sign, because no matter what they sign him to, it'll be below the market, and he still can play. I want to see Hayes take a step forward, Cruz take a step forward, Castro at second take a big step forward. I want to see Henry Davis catch at some point of the season. Number 1 overall pick. He needs to get up here. If it's not him, Endy Rodriguez. I want to see pitchers, really put together nice, not just Contreras or Keller, but others in their system who we talked about. They need to come up and make themselves available and do well. And if you end the season with a lot of guys you can look to and say, hey, man, we got something to work on here. This next year could be something better. That, to me, would define success for them. Kirk joins us right now on line 4. Hey, Kirk.
Hi, Bob. It's always good to see you, my friend.
You too. Thanks.
Bob,
I appreciate the call.
Pittsburgh area sports fans are in deep trouble, man. I tell you, the Penguins will make the playoffs again this year, possibly the next, but they'll be gone in the first round. Steelers, maybe 2-3 years down the road before they begin winning playoff games again. Pirates, they're in a 2-decade rebuilding phase again. What do we got? Pitt football, Pitt basketball. If they take a turn for the worse, we have to turn to high school.
Kurt, I'm going to tell you this. The one thing about getting into the playoffs, I know what the conventional wisdom will say. If the Penguins play no matter Carolina or Boston, they'll be decided heavy underdogs, and they should be. Would I expect them to win? No. But we've seen along the way, I still go back to, I don't know what year, I think it was 2012 or 13, when the Boston Bruins swept them in 4 games when they played that series. And Boston had lost all 5 against the Penguins during the regular season. I believe it was 5. It just goes to show you what you run into at some point. Things can change. Injuries happen. If the Penguins get healthy and if, Jari's back and playing the way he's capable, and again, they needed help from a lot of different people who are currently on their roster. I do not see them changing a lot of what they have on their roster, so it comes from within. They're going to have to just play better. And if so, they have enough talent to do it, but it would certainly be a long shot. And you're right. Eventually, where this is ending. All you have to do is look at Detroit for many years. Look at Chicago. Look at L.A. These are all teams that won multiple Stanley Cups. They had good players in their prime. Their prime turns into twilight, and the next thing you know, it's sort of a rebuild. That's where this is headed. But that's okay because the down payment was on winning cups, and they won 3 of them during their time, 2 back-to-back. You'd like to get more out of this. We'll see how it goes. Let's go out to Jack, Forest Hills. Hey, Jack, how you doing?
Hey, Bob. Haven't talked to you for a while.
Appreciate you calling,
hey, Bob,
Jack.
I want to talk about how the Penguins keep blowing these 2-goal leads. I don't understand why you're up by 2 goals, how you're giving up all these 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s. I mean, if you're up, play defense. I mean, I'm not saying go back to the old Devils system with the left hand lock and the neutral zone trap, but there's got to be some way you keep at least a couple of defensemen back so you're not getting burned all the time.
Oh, I totally agree. It's just about responsible hockey at that point. It's what you saw yesterday from New Jersey, the way they played. You pick your spots, but, we saw, for example, I want to go back to the San Jose game in San Jose a few nights ago. They had the lead, and all of a sudden Marcus Pettersson, for some unknown reason, is going deep. He gets trapped. Timo Meier comes in and goes the other way, and there's a break. You can't give highly skilled players that opportunity. You got to shut that completely down, and for whatever reason, they haven't done that. And even on the power play, if you get one with a lead, you don't want to do the same exact stuff that you would do if you were trailing by 2. You have to know how to play the game, the awareness that comes with 2-goal leads. The other thing, they've been giving up goals immediately after they score goals, and they did it again yesterday. Minute 20 after the first one goes in, they give up one. It's happened too many times, so it has to be corrected, and if it doesn't, then their season is probably in peril at that point. 412-575-2600 is the number to call. The question next, will Pitt be ranked this week in basketball? They lost a game, and a lot of people want to look at that as a disappointing loss. Sure it is. But Virginia Tech's a tough place to play. Castle Coliseum has brought down a lot of teams, and for whatever reason, the officiating I thought was not as consistent as it should have been. So they lost by 7. They were actually 5.5-point underdogs. Most of you shouldn't be surprised if you find the betting lines, and they lost that game. To me, that's not a terrible loss. It's an expected loss, I suppose. But the bottom line is they've still put together a pretty good season. Should they be ranked? Yes. Will they be ranked? Probably not this week. And that'll get people a little upset as well. They got 2 big games this week coming up, and they got to win both of those. We'll take a break, come back with that and more as we continue live right here on Pittsburgh CW 93.7 The Fan. It's the Sports Call. Give us a shout.